So the worst news has been confirmed. Bogdanovic will return to the United States for intensive treatment with the Clippers after suffering a hamstring injury with the Serbian national team in a game against Portugal, which means he's out for the Eurobasket. And does that mean that now we don't consider Serbia as favorites to win gold anymore? What do you think about that? Does this injury change everything for Serbia?
To me, it changes everything in this Eurobasket because Nikola Jokic, as great as he is, Bogi is amazing. FIBA Bogi is one of the best players in the tournament. And not having that perimeter talent, perimeter depth, and not having this guy who just averaged 19 points in the last year in the Olympics. If you remember, Serbia needed everything to beat Germany. And I think without him, this Germany that we see right now, the Germany that we saw yesterday against Lithuania, they are the favorites because they have just more talented players and they have, I think, a better depth around these guys. So to me, this injury changes everything. I'm not saying Serbia cannot win anymore, but it just becomes so much harder and they need a lot of other guys to step up that have not shown they're capable of in the last games.
I think, Donatas, I think you would agree that we had Serbia on one shelf, we had Germany and France maybe on the other shelf.
No, Germany. Just
Germany, you would say?
Just let's clarify it. Germany on its own shelf.
Then we would have France. Then we would have probably Greece, Turkey, and
I would say Serbia, Germany, and others.
And others, yes. And now I think what happened is Serbia went one shelf down to be on the same level as Germany. And it's a 50-50 in my opinion. And the reason why, Augustus mentioned the on-court details, but which is, by the way, very important. But at the same time, you're losing not just a player, you're losing a captain of the team, who's been the captain since 2023. You're losing one of the top scorers. He's been leading in scoring since 2017, except for 1 year, which was last year in the Paris Olympics, where Jokic had 0.5 points more than him per game. But if you look at the important games, you look at that semifinal that the Serbians don't want to remember probably as much with the Team USA, 20 points was scored. The team high was from Bogdanovic. In general, he's always been in those top scoring conversations. And I think I'll have a really important point here, why it's such a big loss. Because I want to highlight two tournaments, 2022 Eurobasket and 2023 World Cup. One of these tournaments was where Jokic was left without Bogdanovic because he was recovering from an injury. He had a surgery in the summer, so he had to miss out on 2022 Eurobasket. 23 World Cup was the opposite. We saw that
Jokic was out, Bogdanovic
was in. And the result of these two tournaments, 2022 Eurobasket, Italy beats them in round of 16, unexpected loss. On the other side, we see 2023 World Cup, they leave with silver medals on their chest.
Losing to Germany, by the way.
Losing to Germany. But point being that if you want to talk about track record of leadership in this Serbian national team context, Bogdanovic has it. Jokic so far hasn't proved that he can lead this team to victories. And we will have to see, can he do it alone without Bogdanovic? And I think this is a big, big loss. That's why.
Yeah, without the huge backcourt presence, because now this is a problem. But to me, I still remain patient, although I think that their chances were shaken like crazy. And let's say if the Eurobasket final is played tomorrow, which is September 1st, I would pick Germany because of the shape of the rhythm that they have right now. Because of the reasons you mentioned, it's a complete team. Germany is a complete team, and now there are a lot of reasons to be concerned about Serbia, including this huge injury. At the same time, the final game is going to be played on September 14. And now, in 2 weeks, Serbia has to figure out a lot of things. They have to find their rhythm, which should happen because these big teams usually build up their rhythm, their form, everything for these final games. and they have 2 weeks to figure out if some guys, including Vasa Micic, can help Nikola Jokic to be these guys who could help him to prove the points you've just mentioned. And of course, there are a lot of reasons to be concerned about Micic, because at the same time, even when you look at the last year's Olympics, Germany and Serbia played for bronze.
Exactly.
And the funny thing is that Vasa Micic was super important in that win. He scored 19 points. He was huge, especially in the first half. And he was maybe one of the top scorers that night. And he had a huge impact in winning the bronze medal. The problem is that Vasa Micic is so far from the Olympic Vasa Micic that to have hopes that in 2 weeks he might quickly switch, it's something that might be too far. But hey, let's see. 2 weeks still is quite a significant chapter to see if things can be figured out in Serbia's camp.
It's crazy because I just want to say one thing. We remember that message from 2024 Olympics that we were commenting on, saying he doesn't really look as the same Vasilije Micic we're used to. And we thought his form was down back then, even though he was averaging 13.3 points per game and 4.5 assists. This tournament, we're seeing in 3 games, 1.3 point average, 6 turnovers in those 3 games combined, or you could just say 2 field goals out of 10. I mean, any stat line you look at, even I think you don't need to look at stats. When Vasilije Micic gets the ball in this shape he's in right now, you see that he is not confident. I don't know where his mojo is gone. Something's gone that he hasn't maybe had the preparations because of the injury or something. In general, he played the same amount of minutes he did in the last season in the NBA, in his rookie season. He played the same amount of minutes this season, so it's not like...
The only thing is that the last time he played over 10 minutes happened in February 4th. Mm-hmm. So basically he didn't play at his full speed and full minutes for half of the year. And his preparation was kind of fucked up, because of the injuries and his uncertain role in Serbian national team.
Gites mentioned that he doesn't have the mojo. You have your mojo when you're in shape. And I mean, we can all see that he's not in the top shape. It's not the Micic we all knew and we all got used to. And he's actually the only guy out of all 12 players in the Serbian national team who has a negative plus-minus rating on a team that has won 3 games. So I think that speaks a lot. Mm-hmm. But you're talking about Micic, I'm putting a lot more hopes on another player. I know Alexa Vramovic needs to step up, but I think, Marko Guduric is the guy that is going to try and fill in Bogi's shoes. It's not an easy task. I don't think, we are going to get the same amount of efficiency and the same amount of points. But I think what we saw from Marko Guduric this season in EuroLeague, I think he can give Serbia a lot of those things at a pretty high level. It's just not maybe it's just not going to be that, let's say, consistent in every match. But I think he can really step up. We saw him stepping up in the EuroLeague Final Four. We saw him stepping up during the regular season in big games, in the playoffs. So he's going to step into that starting role. And that's what I'm looking like. Him, Alexa Vramovic, and, maybe Ognjen Dobric from the bench, Vanja Marinkovic from the bench. One of those 2 guys interchanging nights. One night, one is playing better. The other night, Vanja Marinkovic is playing better. It has to be a collective effort, and they have time. They have, if they win their group, they have a pretty favorable Eurobasket playoff schedule, the bracket, and until the semifinal, they're not really playing really other great teams. So I think that also could help Serbia.
Can I just say one thing about stepping up? I think it might sound like a silly thing to say, but this man who didn't want to talk to the media, wanted just to wave and go. Even though he scored 39 points against Latvia, I think there's still more room from better play from Nikola Jokic. I know It sounds crazy, but what we've seen from him in the regular season in the NBA, was probably the best individual performance he's had as a player in his whole NBA career. He was putting up ridiculous numbers, averaging almost a triple-double. He was unstoppable and playing with the ball much more than he does in this Serbian team. And I think, even though he's dominant so far against these weaker teams, against teams that can't really do anything against him, I think we need to see him stepping up even further to that MVP level of play and becoming that leader, like I saw last year in the Olympics when they played Team USA. Nobody from the bigs of Team USA could really do anything.
Yeah.
And he was playing the toughest competition. Right now, I wouldn't say I'm seeing that, because maybe the competition is not there. But at the same time, he doesn't look in that same, shape that he was in back in the Olympics. And I think he can get to that. And I think Serbia will have to reorganize their game to be more about him. And I want to just see him dominate in ways we haven't seen.
It's crazy that Jokic scores 39 and Gitis is like talking
because,
about...
do you know why? Because he set his bar. He set his bar so high that we now expect some crazy shit from him. But that's what needs to happen.
But nothing surprising. I mean, I think even Nikola Jokic would admit that he's not in his top shape yet. Mm-hmm. And of course, he's building up for the biggest games. That's where we're going to value the real value of those superstar players.
So I think we all agree. Germany now becomes the top favorite. Serbia are still there, but they need to figure some things out. Maybe it's a better thing because a lot of Serbians in our comments wrote when we have the pressure, when we are the clear favorites before the tournament, we always lose. So I think now without FIBA bogey,
they were saying we're trying to jinx them because we kept saying that they're just going to win easily. Now they're in the spot where they're the underdog, let's say, according to us. Let's go now, Team Serbia.
And I'm looking at the bracket, the thing I mentioned. They're playing B4 in the 8th final. It's going to be probably Montenegro. In the second round, it's probably going to be either Poland or Georgia.
Yeah.
And so...
But Augustus, tell me about the brackets if they lose to Turkey in the final game of the group stage. I mean, this is something we cannot rule out, right? After watching them play against Latvia.
Right.
Then they're facing B3 in the 8th final, which is going to be Finland or Lithuania.
Yeah.
And then they're playing France in the quarterfinal.
Oof.
Changes everything.
Now it's interesting.
Now that game is...
When is that game?
Really... The last game
of the group.
Yes.
So it's Wednesday.
Yes,
Oof.
yes. And guys, if you want to see more posts like we saw in the background right here, all the latest updates, all the biggest highlights, everything, go check out our Instagram, our social media, not just Instagram, Twitter, Instagram.
Our website. Make sure to follow Eurobasket action on basketnews.com. And for Serbians, we actually have some interesting column by Todd Warnick, the officiating expert, because you probably remember Davis Bertans told that refs made an unacceptable mistake that kind of helped Serbia win in the final seconds of the game, and Todd actually just made an analysis of that specific play. So make sure to go on basketnews.com, subscribe to BN Plus. We have some really good offers at the moment to get some more extra content during the competition. And man, if you watched until the end, and as Augustus mentioned, since now we kind of have this thing that Serbia are not favorites anymore, which is good for Serbia. Come on, please press like button and also subscribe to our channel.